Around the year of 20-something, my brother and I were looking for a movie to watch. At this point, we were 12 and 14 respectively, so we were looking for something edgy. Yet live action, since it was before I realized that 3 dimensions was one too many. Our options were limited. Digging through our local Redbox, it wasn't long before we found a movie, the holy grail of edge that we were looking for, The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. When this movie came out, it was far different from the mainstream ones we know today. So instead of watching a quippy action film with lots of explosions, audiences instead were introduced to a quippy action film with lots of explosions at nighttime. This film is considered to be one of the best superhero movies of all time, not only by myself, but by audiences in general, and is absolutely considered to be the best Batman film of all time. A coveted title, since despite the large amount of Batman-related media, most don't live up to the Caped Crusader's name. It's extremely difficult to find a good Batman film that isn't either a product of its time that doesn't hold up, that doesn't require the viewer to consume prerequisite content like comics or other movies, or isn't just made of Legos. Finding a good Batman film that stands alone is actually quite difficult. So while The Dark Knight is a fair answer to that question, I feel that there's a film that represents Batman better as a character and as a story, by changing the movie the same way that I changed my girlfriend, by making them 2D. The movie in question is The Dark Knight Returns, a film based on the 1980s comic of the same name. While it might seem like a bootleg version of the Dark Knight sequel, The Dark Knight Rises, it's anything but. One major thing about this film is it takes a lot of liberties in telling the Batman mythos that a lot of other films specifically don't do. And by that, I mean they make Batman old. Instead of a young Batman that we're used to seeing, this is a Batman who's entered retirement, partially due to the grief of losing Robin, old age, and the government having guns. Taking place in a possible future, this allows the film to explore concepts of Batman's character without needing to establish anything first, and the iconic relationships Batman makes with other characters, like Commissioner Gordon, Superman, and the Joker, baby! In this movie, Bruce Wayne becomes compelled by his inner voice to come out of retirement to face members of his old rogues gallery like Two-Face and Joker, new threats like a gang known as the Mutants, and perhaps his biggest threat ever: debt.
Bruce, it's been 5 years. You still owe me $16. Fuck off.
The film is broken into 4 major acts, with each focusing on a major villain for each one. While each act has its own theme centralizing around Batman, the movie itself also has an overarching theme behind it, with each arc building on top of each other and adding context to the main arc. The film has a good amount of 80s corniness and flair to it.
Whoa, instant pizza.
Yeah, right. You need a squeeze, I figure. Blow this. Let's go to the arcade.
Yet maintains a level of seriousness throughout the film. Its theme is also relevant in any era that you watch it in, making the film timeless. The characters are given conclusive endings too, which is an oddity amongst comic books. So while this premise might sound interesting, why would I say that this is the best Batman film ever? Well, for starters, it doesn't have this.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
But more so, it's because it's the best movie at exploring the idea of who is Batman. No matter who Batman is fighting, the show litters the film with news segments. This shows the audience what the public thinks of Batman. And while each of the major acts explores a part of who Bruce Wayne is, the story explores the idea of who or what Batman is. Batman starts as a man, turns into an ideal, shows the flaws of Batman as a man, and then finally, the man dies and turns into an ideal. Ultimately, the symbol of Batman is the most important aspect of him, since in a genre filled with multiple heroes, it's what causes him to stand out. He's not a mutant like Spider-Man, not an alien like Superman, or even a soldier like Hawkeye. He's just a guy. In a field riddled with overpowered superheroes, the thing that makes Batman different is he's just a man. A man who continues to use the confines of his circumstances to fight back against a system that took everything from him. This is the power behind the symbol of the Batman. You don't need circumstances to fight back, you just need determination. And you know, millions of dollars to spend on merchandisable gear and vehicles, but hey, who's counting? It's the explanation of that ideal that makes the movie so interesting, and why it's the best Batman movie ever created. It's not perfect by any means, the pacing seems rushed, and the entire reason that Act 4 starts is just so stupid. However, if you can stomach that, you might find this small direct-to-DVD film with a great story that you never expected. So, if you like Batman, this is a movie I'd absolutely check out, since it would probably be right up your alley. Wait, no!